What is known to exist only because it was caught on camera? Giant sequoias. Early explorers would come across them in the very few groves where they exist, high in isolated mountains, and excitedly try to describe them to others once they were back in civilization. Nobody believed them. This was the height of all kinds of exploitative bullshit like snake oil and traveling sideshows with mummified mermaids, and it's not like you could just cut a chunk the size of a house off of this absolute unit of a tree and carry it down the mountain. Photography is what got people to believe. This answer is a bit of a stretch, but when scientists were looking at the spectrum of the sun, sunlight split by a prism into the various lines caused by elements absorbing and re-emitting light, they saw all the lines of hydrogen with an extra line. They thought it was a new unknown element and called it helium after Helios, the Greek sun god. Helium was later isolated on Earth, and its spectrum matched the mystery element of the sun. The moving stones in Death Valley. It was considered paranormal until it was recorded, and the reason solved the mystery. Basically, rain and cold temperatures below freezing turn the shallow ponds into ice. The high winds shift the sheets of ice, pushing the rocks across the desert floor. Funny how something that seemed so mysterious ended up having a logical reason. Mountain lions in Illinois, supposedly extinct since the late 1800s, though reports of sightings in rural areas were common but not believed until trail cams became a thing. Ball lightning. I read about 10 years ago that it was finally caught on tape in an unrelated lab experiment. I read this in a credible source, but I can no longer find mention of this article on the internet. I experienced ball lightning myself and read a lot about it back then to figure out what I experienced. Nothing revolutionary, but there was a post here about a year ago where someone shared some hiking pictures. Apparently, they found a severely injured woman during the hike and had almost missed her completely. 2 women went hiking. One fell and died, and the other fell and was badly injured. After getting home, the poster reviewed his pictures and realized that in some of them, you could see the injured woman in the background. The pictures were taken several minutes before they found her. It's creepy in the sense that if they hadn't ended up finding her lying there, they would have taken that woman's last pictures and not even known it. I wish I had saved that link. Most of what we know about astronomy and cosmology is captured by the cameras of telescopes. Just the Hubble telescope alone completely reshaped our understanding of the structure and composition of the universe. A lot of what we know about black holes, including the first experimental evidence of their existence, came from Hubble. Its influence on science is hard to overstate, over 12,000 publications. If they average 100 citations each, there are potentially millions of publications referencing those. Every modern astronomy textbook references the Hubble's discoveries. One notable example of something known to exist only because it was caught on camera is the concept of ball lightning. Ball lightning refers to unexplained atmospheric electrical phenomena in the form of glowing, spherical objects that vary in size and duration. While there have been numerous eyewitness accounts of ball lightning throughout history, its existence was long debated due to the lack of scientific evidence. However, in recent years, there have been instances where ball lightning was captured on camera, providing visual documentation of its existence. These recordings have contributed to ongoing research and understanding of this mysterious phenomenon. How about caught on an old wax disc? The early days of what we know as blues music are dotted with a bunch of musicians for whom the only proof they existed is the few recordings they left behind. People from record companies looking to capitalize on Southern folk blues music would straight up go to random Southern towns and wander around looking for people with an interesting sound. Musicians would hear they were in town and look them up. Makeshift recording studios were set up in hotel rooms, the back rooms of corner stores, etc. More regionally well-known players like Charlie Patton had actual sessions booked in advance in big cities, but this was less common. Many of them only did 1 or 2 sessions and recorded a handful of songs. Making their identification more difficult was that they were often given pen names by the record companies, or the musicians choosing to record under nicknames, which led to their real names being lost. Some were also illiterate, and an uncanny amount were blind. Birth records, especially for black people in the South, weren't well kept. No photos exist of the vast majority. Even Robert Johnson, probably the most legendary from this era, has only 2 to 3 confirmed photos known to exist. I'd say the most infamous of these is Gishi Wiley. Many attempts have been made to positively identify her, but all have failed to be conclusive. There's a theory that she was on the run under an assumed name for killing her husband. Bo Weevil Jackson, almost certainly a name invented by a record company employee, is another. Absolutely nobody knows anything about him other than he recorded a few songs and pretty much vanished. Blind Roosevelt Graves is one from the same time and place who recorded a lot of more religious music. More is known about him, but there was confusion about his brother and recording partner, Uaroy Graves. People figured there was no way someone was named Uaroy, and that it was sloppy penmanship, possibly for Leroy, until a very clear set of notes came to light in the 2000s that showed his name was Uaroy Graves. I have zero clue how to pronounce it. Thanks for watching the video. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss out on the best Reddit stories.